What's up, family? Let's go here and see something I seen last night. That's with my boy Tariq. Check this out.
Okay. And look, I know they're not witty. They try to be witty. Yeah, I know she looks like she's so very musty. She looks so very musty. And they're not witty. She got the crunch, her braids coming loose. Listen, here's this thing. They're trying to co-opt our ancestors. Let me take it down. Yeah, I know she's crunchy and ashy looking. I know. Yeah, these people are so butthurt that we have delineated. Listen, let's be very clear. Harriet Tubman, her birth and identity was rooted in America. Harriet Tubman was born enslaved in America. She wasn't an immigrant. She had no personal or cultural connection to Africa. Her life story from birth to death was lived on American soil. We're not doing that. You're not going to take credit for our icons when we had to get out here and stomp on our damn own. Harriet Tubman, just like all of us, foundational Black Americans, there was an ethnogenesis of foundational Black Americans. By that time, the Africans already mixed in with the indigenous people here, and they had already formed a very new and unique culture here in America. And that culture was foundational Black American. There was an ethnogenesis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yep.
So her spiritual visions, her songs, cultural and coded communication, that reflected a created foundational Black American survival system. That was not no African tribal culture. And there's no evidence of no Asante connection and all of that. There's some historians that suggested that her grandmother might have come from Africa, but some people are saying her grandmother was born in Maryland. So it's just kind of all over the place as far as that. But still, she had an ethnogenesis. She was here at the formation of the United States. She had an ethnogenesis. Her resistance was uniquely American, ladies and gentlemen. I want y'all to understand that. Harriet Tubman, her struggle was shaped by slavery in the United States, the fugitive slave laws, the Underground Railroad, the Great Dismal Swamp. Her strategies, her bravery, her spiritual outlook, those were products of the foundational Black American experience, not African culture. That sister risked her life in swamps of Maryland, going along these secret American routes. She wasn't on no African battlefield. Yeah? And nobody Black sold her out like they did in Africa. No, we didn't sell her out. Huh? We didn't sell out. The people here didn't sell her out. The people of the Great Dismal Swamp didn't sell her out. Yeah, you can't claim that now. Y'all would have sold her out like y'all did everybody else. Come on now, y'all not going to play that game. How about she from Ghana when you got the damn Elmina Castle? Yeah, if somebody's from Ghana, your ass helped sell them. If that's what you're saying, that means you sold the person who was related to Harriet Tubman. You sold him. You don't get to circle back and start claiming, oh, this is one of our greats. No. You don't get to do that. Harriet Tubman didn't get no help from Africa. Harriet Tubman liberated dozens of enslaved foundational Black Americans. She received help from other foundational Black Americans. All right? Some abolitionists, some white, some in the white church, but primarily it was foundational black Americans who she got assistance from. She didn't get no assistance from no African leaders, no African government, no African tribes, no African dignitaries, nothing. You don't get to claim that. Her network was strictly a foundational black American-born resistance. Yeah? Y'all not going to get to circle the block and try to double dip on the claims now, because too many of y'all, non-FBAs, were way too complicit in the slave trade. Them African elites, including groups like the Asantes, they were some of the main ones collaborating, selling captives to Europeans and Portuguese, Lacanos, all they were up there in the mix. No. You can't. No. You're not going to ignore the fact that those African leaders historically helped supply the very system Harriet Tubman fought against. You don't get to circle the block now. Come on now, let's get them. We got over 3,000 people in here. Let's get up to 5,000 people in here in the next 20 minutes. Y'all give us some retweets. Harriet Tubman's legacy is foundational black American. She was a Union spy, a nurse, a freedom fighter during the Civil War. Look, she never claimed an African identity. She was always celebrated as a foundational black American freedom fighter. Yeah? See, that's the people try to get into these historical erasure tactics, trying to brand Harriet Tubman as an African. That's like the Essence Fest. You see, everybody's trying to dip into the history and dip into our culture and rebrand it, and we're just not letting people do that. She never claimed an African identity. Yeah? See, all of this historic cultural erasure, that undermines the reality of the foundation of black Americans. We created our own lineage and culture independent of African identity. Everything we do, they have to try to tie it into something African. Everything, if we create a music genre, here's somebody go from some African studies class. Well, listen, drill music, you got to understand where that came from. 2,000 years ago, in a small village in Nairobi, there was a drum circle, and people used to go around singing drill raps. No. Let's be real. Harriet Tubman, her spirituality was distinctively foundational black American. Her vision, her prayers, her songs. She understood hoodoo and root work. Yeah, that was us. That was our culture. Harriet Tubman, she became a symbol of foundational black American self-determination. She represented that resilience that foundational black American has, the self-liberation, family reunification, community defense. She embodies how foundational black Americans fought for freedom without outside help. See, they talk about Harriet Tubman because some of the church people were involved, but let's be very clear. The way she was able to move up and down was because of black maroons. She was going in and out of the damn dismal swamp, and that was a place where white people couldn't even go. So that was us. So trying to put her into the African bubble, that's them trying to really erase her true identity. Because a lot of these folks, they can't point to their globally revered heroes, unfortunately. And I'm not trying to beat up on nobody, but we just got to speak truth to power. And going back to Harriet Tubman, let's look at her own words, family. Because see, we can't let.
Before we do that, let's take a look at the comments here. I like what my band Awakening from the FBA, he said that the moment that the people sold, they became something else. I like that right there. So my boy Tariq about to read Harriet Tubman's own words. I just want to say before he read that I think he said that she made these words in like 1800s, 1859. And I also want to say from my own research, I found out that slavery started in America in 1619. So if I do the math, I think that Harriet Tubman had been in this land maybe 100, 150 years. That's an ethnogenesis in itself.
people disgrace and lie on our ancestors who were riders. We can't let people do that. Now, in 1859, our good sister, Queen Mother Harriet Tubman, did a speech. She did a speech. And where's that? And let me show you guys an excerpt from that speech. August 2nd, 1859. This is her own words right here. In this speech, she said, let's go down here. Just so the white people had got the N-word here to do their druggery, and now they're trying to root them out and send them back to Africa. But they can't do it. We're rooted here, and they can't put us up, or can't pull us up. We are rooted here. This is Harriet Tubman's own words. She said, we are rooted here, and you can't pull us up. That's her talking. That's her own words. All right? She knew what it was. And we ain't going to no Africa. We're rooted on this land. She knew we were foundational. That's what foundational means, rooted. You can't pull us up. Please don't let nobody lie on our Queen Mother Harriet Tubman. Damn. Y'all not going to do that.